Hello and welcome everyone to part 3 of my resume writing tutorial series. My name is Joshua Brown with Higher Powers. Alright, so welcome everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so as you can see, we'll go ahead and scroll up here. So we've been working on this resume. We got part 1 done, part 2, and we're working on part 3. So part 3 is our skills section. And I like to use a skills section, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. Now, you're going to say, well, maybe I don't need to have a skills section. I don't really feel like it addresses my job search that much. Okay, that's perfectly fine. I do feel like there's a lot of areas, and so let's kind of talk about a little bit for type of people who would want to use this. So first of all, I think people that don't have a lot of actual work experience or really no work experience at all, it's a good way for people to let their skills come across, especially if they're actual tangible. Not things like just saying customer service or time management. And we'll get into it actually with some specifics. Okay, so right now, a lot of different office jobs are demanding really that you know and at least have cursory knowledge of the Microsoft Office suite. So in things like that, office type of jobs, you're going to want to apply this. Now we'll talk, a little bit about how to go through the job search and tailor your results or your skills to what you get. But so skills like this, that's kind of what we're talking about is the overall genre of these skills. So skills that are going to match it. And to tie it in here, the next one as well, Adobe Photoshop. So really any type of web creativity, not even just web in print, probably InDesign. Again, not just think about Photoshop, but think about those types of technical software knowledge. Okay, so this could be certain types of languages that you know how to program in. Okay, now with technical resumes, you probably want to get a little bit more specific in your headings, just because it can sometimes be hard to follow with the different syntax and things like that. So something to think about. Okay, this type of resume can also be really popular with people that are in the trades. Again, it's a certain way to display what type of understanding that you have and what skills come along with, say, your education, right? It's not just enough to say, yeah, I went to school here and learned this. Okay, well, what is the practical application of those things? So, as you can see here, in my experience, I've had some working in different types of trade schools. So these are just some that you might find, okay? Bending conduit, for the electrical guys, drawing blood for various nurses, medical assistants, anyone in the health profession. And then various types of, we have down here OSHA and HIPAA. Again, those two kind of go along together, but various types of knowledge, those have certificates, those have tests. Think about all the things that you could be adding to your resume. And again, there's a very fine line between piling on and adding things that are kind of not necessarily false, but inflated. But again, this is something that's concrete. If you have something to show, a certificate especially, great time to put it in here. Okay. In addition to where you actually got the certificate. And we'll talk about that in a subsequent video. Okay. Again, different types of office skills, typing speeds, things like that. Again, especially you're going to want to mention this. I've seen a lot of different secretarial jobs. They're going to mention what they would expect you to be typing at. So make sure that you get a certified typing test that's up to the standard of where you're applying for. So check with your local city there and see if that's a possibility. Okay, a couple other things here. I'll say multi-line phone systems kind of falls back in with just the general knowledge. That's where we're really clean. That was kind of I guess the ground floor where I would kind of build up, in terms of your skills here. Again, different various phone systems, the software that you may have used at a different company. You want to put those things on here. First call resolution, I had a friend that helped me get a job at a cell phone company, and one of the things that they really liked to hear and talk about was making sure that the customer got their question resolved on the very first time they called in. Part of the reason for this was just the amount of time and money that the company had to put into answering subsequent phone calls. Part of it is just being good customer service. So their specific uh, phrase for this attitude was first call resolution. So that's something I added onto the resume, got the job. Okay, it's not as simple as that, but it's part of the process of piquing their interest of, hey, this person thinks like me, or they think, the same way have the same attitude towards customers or towards business. Okay, it's very easy to portray those things in buzzwords. Some people, they get a feeling for a word and they just can't come out their mouth. So something to think about. Again, 5 years of management, if you have the management experience, obviously you're going to go into much more detail about it later. But again, we're using a specific number, calling that out to say, boom, here I am. Again, it's something that we can be a little bit redundant with and how much we're putting on there. I don't mind something like that because again um, we're trying to bring attention to it, but it's not inflated. It's a statistic, right? So it's important. Okay, so those are the various types of skills. Now, like I mentioned, you want to be looking at it in terms of not just what I bring to the table, but what do I bring to the table that the company actually wants, right? Now, it doesn't mean that we don't put the other skills that we've learned over time onto the table, I guess you'd say, but on our resume. It just means that we prioritize things differently, put them in different places. Maybe we don't be redundant with those skills, the ones that they're really looking for. And again, you're going to want to be looking for on the job listings under things like responsibilities, duties. Usually the requirements anymore is asking for being really they're trying to get the most that they can. So don't not apply. Right? That's my best advice there. So again, but that means that you send them a dang good resume so you're not wasting their time either. Right? It's a two-way street. Part of that is having a skills section, being up front. Again, look at where we are. I mean, it feels like we're halfway down, but let me kind of back out here for a second. Okay, so really, if we're looking at it this way, once we format it, it's not going to go past, say, maybe here. I mean, we'll be in the middle, but it really feels like in the first third of the page because you're getting through that top information so quickly. So really, the recruiter's getting straight to the skills, and again, you're being upfront and honest about what you know. So again, it's a two-way street. You have to respect their time, um, for them to consider that. So okay, back to where we're at here. So one other thing I want to say specifically about the skills, and then we'll move on to the formatting, is that you can really think about the types of skills in two categories. And obviously there's more ways to branch out from that, but two types of ways to categorize them. We have technical skills. Now technical skills are skills that you absolutely have to have and that apply to a specific job or specific industry. So in our example here, those things are going to be like, say, for an electrician, bending conduit, circuit wirings, ohm readings and all that kind of stuff. I know I'm messing it all up, but having those specific types of skills, right? You wouldn't put those on a resume to go for, a secretary type of job, right? So then you have, so those are the technical skills. Then you have the personal skills or the soft skills that people call them. Those are things like customer service, time management, trustworthiness. However, those skills, it's implied a lot of the time that you have those skills, as a prerequisite to even walking through the door. So those aren't things that I want to include in my specific skills section. However, I want to convey those messages maybe through some other skills, right? Saying something like first call resolution, I'm talking about being a good customer service representative, right? But I'm using their specific language, and you can deem that off of, even if it wasn't that, something about what they say in their listing for customer service, how they expect you to treat their customers. Pick up on those little things. Okay. So again, the technical skills and the personal skills. Most of the time for people that are going to use this skills section, it's going to be overrun by the technical. So now that you kind of have somewhat of an idea, or at least an idea of what to be hunting for. Again, let me back out here. So we want to make it look nice. All right, of course. And I'm going to back out even more so everyone can see. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab everything here. I'm going to go ahead and if you didn't see that, though, it was really quick. I went up here and grabbed my bullet points, so I just clicked on my bullet point button. Those all got bullet points. Okay, so now here's the tricky part. I'm going to go up to page layout. I'm going to go to columns, and I'm going to go down to 3. Okay. And so what it does automatically is it puts all of my skills, right, 3 in a row, right, or 3 rows, I should say. Okay, so important to note, right, it's not a table. It didn't create a new table, new layout. Right, once I see it, I can click down here. Let's say I wanted to add a new skill. Okay. Boom, add a new skill. Okay. Say I don't want to add a new skill. Hit enter again. Oh, sorry about that. Giving you bad advice. Okay, we don't want to do that. Okay, so like I did before that, I'm just going to go ahead and click forward here. Okay, so again, I'm at my home page and I'm centered, and boom, I can move on to my employment history. Okay. So employment history will be our next segment, so go ahead and subscribe. You'll get the notification when that next video comes out. Have a wonderful day, everyone.